Has Prime Minister Anthony Albanese unwittingly sold out the LGBTQI+ political lobby and given Christian and religious schools a stay of execution? I'll come to the PM's comments in just a moment. These are bombshell remarks which are yet to be picked up by the mainstream media. You are getting an exclusive right here on ADH TV. Now, as regular viewers and listeners to the podcast version of the show will know, Christian schools are fighting for their very lives. At issue are government plans to strip religious schools of the right to hire staff who actually share the beliefs of the parent communities of those Christian schools. Now, let's face it, if a Christian school is no longer able to discriminate positively to employ teachers and support staff who agree with the values and mission of the school, then that school ceases to be Christian or religious. This is where the Albanese government and a powerful group of politicians, including Liberal MPs, have driven the Christian education sector to. Now, when even Sky News and someone of veteran journalist Chris Uhlmann's calibre recognises how dire the problem is, we should all be jolted into action. Take a listen.
Now religious institutions face the possibility that they won't be able to hire people that agree with their worldview inside their schools and their hospitals. And I think that's a huge concern.
It sure is a huge concern. Most people are unaware the fight is even on, and sadly that includes most Christians. So alarmed are the sector's leaders that they have united to stage town hall meetings around the nation to enlist grassroots support in their fight. And the early signs are that it's working. More than 800 people turned out for the first one of these in Brisbane last Monday night. The threat that has been building since the introduction of same-sex marriage in 2017, a debate the Christian school sector and sadly most Christian leaders did not publicly participate in, has led to this current crisis. Since 2017, the pressure has relentlessly built, culminating in the tabling in Parliament of an Australian Law Reform Commission report just before Easter, commissioned by the Albanese government, which recommends forcing religious schools to employ teachers who are in effect LGBTQI+ activists. These recommendations are in defiance of parents' rights to educate their children at schools which are free to uphold their values. The recommendations of the ALRC, prompted by the Albanese government, are simply un-Australian. Most mainstream people support the freedom of their fellow Australians to live and to let live, and to live by the values of their choice. The next event which the Christian schools are holding, which I'll be attending on behalf of the Family First political party, is in Sydney next Monday, May 6 at Regent's Park. Titled Faith in Our Future, a series of town hall events for supporters of Christian schools, I urge all viewers and listeners to attend the upcoming events. Not just the one in Sydney, but there'll be one in Perth on May 8, Launceston on May 21 and Melbourne on May 22. It's also possible events in Adelaide and other places will be added to the schedule. 3 of the Christian school movements have united under the banner of My Christian School to campaign to save Christian education. Go to their website, mychristianschool.au, and look for the details. In a further sign of the effectiveness of their campaign, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told a meeting of religious leaders last month, and this is the bombshell quote that I mentioned at the start. He said this, and I quote, "Religious freedom protections for faith groups will not go backwards while I'm Prime Minister of Australia." Now, as I said, this statement has not been reported by the media. I've obtained it from the Christian Schools Australia website, where it is published in a media release detailing the crisis meeting held last month with a range of religious leaders who are deeply concerned about the ALRC's recommendations. The Prime Minister's words effectively mean the LGBTQI+ political movement, led by the same people who led the same-sex marriage campaign, rebadged Equality Australia, it means that these people are on the back foot. Their 6-year campaign to strip Christian schools of their right to continue to teach Christian beliefs about marriage, gender and sexuality is at a stalemate that now favours Christian and other religious schools. It's a campaign that has been driven by politicians such as Labor's Penny Wong and the Liberals' Dave Sharma, just to name a few from both sides of the political spectrum who have been attacking the Christian school sector and working against it in the Parliament since same-sex marriage was introduced. As Chris Uhlmann says, there is a religious war going on, but it is not one being driven by Christians or by other religious leaders. Let's not beat around the bush. It is the LGBTQI+ lobby and their friends on both sides of the political divide who are the ones waging jihad against the religious schools sector. And while Christian school leaders who were silent during the marriage debate are suddenly active now, and good on them, perhaps the Prime Minister has unwittingly handed them a much-needed reprieve with his words, which have been cleverly published on the CSA website.